With the interface workflow now completed and done and dusted out of the way, we move on to doing the video editor itself. Now ordinarily I would say I would do this in baby steps and starting off with a trim, but this is a professional editor and we have to do a little bit more. The first thing you need to do is define your sequences. Now Adobe do provide you with a lot of presets, so I'm going to pick the 1080p preset. It gives you a lot of information about the preset, and if you are happy with it you could just name the sequence and press OK. But what I'm going to do here is just show you the steps if you want to do some subtle tweaks. First I'm going to go over the workflow. So the top end, you would select the preset as your base preset, and then you do your tweaks on top of that. The video, you put all your video specifics here, which should be pertinent to the clips you're using, as should you do the same with the audio. And also with the video playback or previews, you can select how resolute it's going to be, which is a good thing to do if you've got a platform that might be stressed. Now here you could then save the preset and it'll ask you for the name, and if you're happy with what you've entered here, you could then name the sequence and move on. But you can also define things like the video tracks that go on the sequence. So here I'm saying I want 3 video tracks, and this is how I want the audio tracks, and then you could save the preset here, and then afterwards you would enter a sequence name and click OK. Before I show you the whole of this workflow in action, some of you may be wondering, what is a sequence? A lot of video editors give you a timeline and you would drop your clip into that timeline. In the case of bigger projects, you might have lots of small little clips that form chapters and so forth, and these could be classed as a sequence. So what Adobe does, and some of the other premium products do, is they give you a tab space, and in the tab that becomes a sequence, and so you put all things pertinent to that sequence in there and do another sequence. Once you've made all the sequences together and you've got your story plot, you then combine that to make your movie. So that's what the purpose and the reasoning behind the sequences is, to put things into smaller, more manageable chunks. So let's roll on and see the workflow in action. Now I was a bit upset here because you could have put 30 there, but I don't know why Adobe don't have that in the drop down list. Anyway, that being said, the sequence complete, and there you've got it in that blue square. Now what I want to do now is place a clip in here. Now the clip I want to do is I'm going to now perform that basic edit which you see me in a lot of the other editors. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use the project which has the title sequence. I've selected that, which you now can see in the source viewer. I want to just change the beginning, so I'm going to do the marking of the in and out point through this here source browser and the previewer. And once I've done that, I just drag that clip and drop it down, and the first thing that the application is now going to say is there's a conflict to the sequence you've described and the actual clip. Do you want me to change? And of course I do, so I will select that. So it'll change the sequence to the clip. And once you're happy, there you go, job done. So as I say, this is a professional product, and I do like the way this is done and what you can do. It's very easy then to go through the remaining part of the clip and load the entire game anime into a sequence. All I can say here is the whole of this process is very easy to learn. Now if you're a novice and a beginner, you might be daunted by all these windows, but once you've got used to them and the workflow, the tool shines. So I'm now going to move on to the next test. This is an enhancement test, and what I've got is a part of the clip which I think is a bit dull. This is where Nelson Shepard, that's my Shepard on the Mass Effect game, is approaching the cockpit of the Normandy just prior to going through the first mass relay. Now as you can see here, The actual clip is not as vibrant as you would like to be. It's a military ship, yes, it's in the dark, but you want more color. It's a bit on the dull side, and I put that down just to the technology of the time, because BioWare was quite innovative in the whole of this game. So what I want to do is now liven that up, and the whole set of tools that you've got available to you in this particular editor are just amazing. It does take a while to understand the process that you have to go through, and in some part of me I think, could you make this simpler? But it is quite thorough and it is very complete. The other thing I like about it, it's quite responsive, but it's not overly sensitive. And as you could see, I'm just tweaking around with the brightness and the luminosity, as well as the color curves. Believe it or not, luminosity, your eye is more sensitive to that, so subtle changes in here can do an amazing amount of difference to the actual movie clip. And as you could see, I'm tweaking the clips quite subtly, but it's getting that what I want, that vibrance, but still keeping that atmosphere that it's a military ship and it's dark. The whole process of using the tools within Adobe are so rewarding. It's like, it's fun. You just don't know where your limits are. It keeps helping you push and experiment and try, which is what you want. So from the novice point of view, I do like it. From the professional view, I can understand why they like it. It's really a very nice, powerful tool. No two ways about it. That concludes that test, and again Adobe passes with flying colors. I'm now about to do what I call a special effects phase or test. Here I've got a biometric scanner. The biometric scanner basically emulates that it's testing your fingerprints, and once it's ID'd you, it gives a photograph where it says insert your photo. What I want to do is to subtly change this and put a video when it says insert your photo. So the video is a matrix-like type of clip, which just shows you symbols flashing down as in the matrix. And what I want to do is resize that to the shape of that square, where you're supposed to put the photo. Here I thought the process that you've got to do this with an Adobe is not as good as the rest of the process. It's very fiddly, and you really constantly are trying to reposition the whole of that video clip, because as I say before, it's a picture-in-picture, and a picture-in-picture means that the biometric scanner is in the background and this small picture is in the foreground. But the way it allows you to do this, you can't directly access this. Now there are many applications I can name that I've tested that make this job a breeze, and here Adobe makes it difficult and fiddly. It's not as nice or as much fun as doing the other things, but once you've got it in place, you then can have fun, because it allows you to do so much to that clip. So one part of you is a bit annoyed because it's too fiddly. Another part of you is really happy once you've got it in place, because you can do a lot of creative things with it. And to me, for a professional product, one should not be in this dichotomy at all. So let's now look at the actual editor. We started off with the media process, which this application failed dismally on, especially since this is a company that sat on the standards committee. But worse still, the technical support is more like, well, incognito support, because you cannot get hold of them unless you're in the US, and that's bad for a product that seems to rely on the forum to do all its solutions. But the interface is so intuitive, and again it's a slow starter. But overall, if you're using the editor, you do feel like the conductor, which is the highest accolade I can give. I can only give this 4 stars, and I do believe I'm being a bit lenient here, because for a professional product to have the media process is one thing, but also to have a cost model that requires really a large investment over the year and nothing for it, and then have no professionalism in its technical support and relying solely on the forum, to me this is atrocious.